Hey Pokemon fans, Tamashii here. The Pokemon games have always been full of things to discover. From glitches to hidden mechanics to actual mysteries, there's always plenty to find if players take the time to look around. And of course, Game Freak will sometimes reward inquisitive players with Easter eggs. What's an Easter egg? Well, in a video game, an Easter egg is something that a developer leaves in the game for players to find. Often these don't have any effect on gameplay, but they can still make for a fun treasure hunt. So today, let's celebrate the urge to explore by counting down the top 10 Easter eggs in Pokemon games. Number 10. Secret Wallpapers. Ever since Lynette improved the Pokemon storage system, you've been able to customize your PC boxes by giving each a name and a wallpaper. In newer Pokemon games, you can unlock extra wallpapers, otherwise known as secret wallpapers, just by completing objectives such as defeating the Elite Four or the Champion. But in Pokemon Emerald, they really were a secret. In the Rustboro City apartment buildings, there's a little girl named Wallpapers. She's sick, and if you tell her a phrase to cheer her up, you're rewarded with secret wallpapers. But how do you find out what phrase will make her laugh? Well, there's an individual phrase for all 16 unlockable wallpapers, and they're all unique phrases that are determined based on the player's trainer ID. So unless you use an online generator to calculate the exact combination of letters to unlock each one, you basically just have to try the hundreds of combinations of letters possible to try and get one by chance. Similarly in 4th Gen, to unlock the 8 secret wallpapers for Diamond and Pearl, Platinum, or Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the player had to enter an exact phrase based on the player's game, ID number, and region, which again, you need to use an online calculator to figure out, or just log into it by guessing hundreds of times. Why they made it so difficult to get something so pointless it's hard to say, but you have to admit these Easter eggs are certainly well hidden. Number 9. Salute your shorts. For some reason, even though he played such a small role in the Gen 1 games and remakes, Youngster Ben has really become ingrained in the minds of the Pokemon fandom. The classic line, "I like shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear," has been etched into our hearts as such a sincere and honest appreciation of loose-fitting apparel. It's no surprise that Game Freak has paid homage to Ben multiple times throughout the series. In 4th Gen, in the Battle Tower, one of the opponents you can get says, "I gotta say it, shorts are the best. They remain comfy and easy to wear." Once you beat him, he says, "I'll never stop wearing shorts, not for anybody." In Black and White 2, in Humulao City, a girl can be found that says, "This dress is comfy and easy to wear." And more recently, in X and Y, youngster Keita pays tribute to his trainer class's favorite mantra. When he approaches you, he says, "Wanna know why I always wear shorts when I walk through tall grass?" After the battle, he'll tell you it's because they're comfy and easy to wear. Even though not as many people remember his name, youngster Ben has had a bigger impact on this series than even youngster Joey. So don't forget, kids, eat your vegetables, stay in school, and always wear shorts. Number 8. Diamond Dust. As many of you know, Junichi Masuda has played a huge role in making the Pokemon games what they are today. He's the lead composer for the series. He was part of the original team that made Red and Green, as not only the sole composer for all of the music and sound effects, but also as a programmer. In Ruby and Sapphire, he stepped up and became lead director for the series. And ever since, he has been leading the team at Game Freak and helping produce some truly awesome games. So of course, he slipped in a little personal Easter egg of his own into the games as well. Starting in Diamond and Pearl, if you play the games on his birthday, January 12th, a special kind of snow will fall at Snow Point City. This snow is called Diamond Dust, and though it has no effect in battle, it sparkles and looks different than the regular snow. This isn't the only time Diamond Dust will fall. It also falls on October 30th in Snow Point City, and it returned in Black and White, where it falls on December 31st in Icarus City. It also shows up in Heart Gold Soul Silver on Mount Silver on October 10th. I'm not sure if the dates besides Masuda's birthday have any significance. One is obviously New Year's Eve, but I don't know of anything significant in Pokemon happening on October 10th or 30th. Maybe they're the birthdays of other staff members. The 100th episode of the Diamond and Pearl anime aired on the 30th in Japan, so maybe that's it. While seasonal weather didn't make it into X and Y, perhaps Diamond Dust will fall in Snowbell City on a specific day of the year. Keep your eyes open. Number 7. Foreshadowing. This is something I don't see in a lot of other game series. But often Game Freak will put lines of dialogue in their games that are completely recontextualized when new features and games are released. For example, the infamous girl outside of Rock Tunnel in Generation 1, who says she wishes that there was a pink Pokemon with flowers on it. And then over 10 years later, Muna was introduced. In Generation 3, a scientist at the Devon Corporation says he's trying to develop a device that visually reproduces the dreams of Pokemon. And in Generation 5, the Dream World was introduced, which did just that. In Black and White 2, a biker outside of Reversal Mountain says he enjoys riding a bike, but he would rather ride a Pokemon. And in Generation 6, riding Pokemon was introduced. It's funny how little throwaway lines you wouldn't think twice about can actually be clues as to what might come next. I have a feeling a lot of the unsolved mysteries of X and Y are related to this as well. Only time will tell. Number 6. Bye Bye A Go-Go. In Gold and Silver and their remakes, in Kanto there's a rocket grunt who steals a part of a machine integral to running the power plant and hides it in Cerulean City Gym. This rocket grunt was always amusing because of the peculiar way he talked. It was one of the few memorable henchmen in the entire series. In Black and White, in a house in Icarus City that you can only access in the wintertime, a man with a familiar way of speaking shows up. I gotta say, this made me grin when I found it for the first time. It's so nice to see him settle down and live an outstanding life. In Black and White 2, in the same house, instead of finding this ex-rocket grunt, you find 2 retired Magma and Aqua grunts. It's some pretty cute resolution for some pretty minor characters, but it makes me smile that they got happy endings too. Number 5. Don't say the P word. This is a bit of an oldie, but it's funny that it's still relevant today. In Hey You Pikachu, there are a few words that Pikachu will respond to that aren't commands. If you say PlayStation to Pikachu, he'll get pissed at you. At the time, the original PlayStation was Nintendo's biggest competitor, and while they have Microsoft to contend with now too, Sony and Nintendo are still raging console wars to this day. You can say all kinds of stuff to Pikachu and he won't care. You can call him an idiot, you can scream profanities at him, but if you say the P word, you better watch out. Number 4. Cutting grass. Cut is one of the most annoying HMs in the game. It's necessary in almost every Pokemon game just to advance through the story. It's usually only useful early in the game. It's undeletable under most circumstances, and it's just a terrible move in battle, so most people end up wasting at least one move slot on it. But it does have a hidden secondary effect in every game up till 4th gen. If you use Cut while standing in front of tall grass, you can actually clear the grass away. I used this all the time as a kid when I just didn't feel like battling wild Pokemon, but as I found out, a lot of people didn't know this was possible. Unfortunately, when the game made the leap to the DS system though, it's something that they neglected to carry over. So unfortunately, in any game from Diamond and Pearl onward, it's not possible. But if you're ever replaying the first 3 gens, give it a try. Number 3. Sakurai's Cat. This is the kind of crazy thing people look for in video game Easter eggs. Though Super Smash Bros. Brawl isn't really a Pokemon game, there are Pokemon characters and stages in it, and this Easter egg is specific to the Pokemon Stadium stage only. As you play around on the stage, it'll change based on the different Pokemon typings. When the stage changes to Ice mode, a cabin with Snorunt pops up. If you pause the game and look through the window, there's a poster of Masahiro Sakurai's pet cat on the wall. Sakurai is the creator of Kirby and the Smash Bros. Games, so what it's doing in a Pokemon stage I can't say. This is what you call a weird Easter egg. Number 2. The truck near the SS Anne. It's funny that the fan-created lore behind this truck is way more interesting than anything it actually does in the game, considering the truck itself does absolutely nothing. In normal gameplay, the SS Anne departs from the dock in Viridian City early in the game, before you get Surf or the badge required to use it, and you're forced to leave the area so you can't explore the dock. If you're crafty though, and you trade over a Pokemon that knows Cut from another save file, you can skip the SS Anne entirely for the first half of the game, and come back to it once you have Surf and the badge required to use it. And there you'll find a little graphic of a truck. Additionally, in the Celadon City Casino, you can find someone's keys hidden near one of the slot machines, and people have speculated that these keys are to that truck. You can't actually obtain the keys, however. So what is the purpose of this truck? Well, I can tell you from my experience hacking the remakes, Fire Red and Leaf Green, that the truck is actually a map tile, not a sprite, so it absolutely cannot move. It has no scripts or signposts that trigger text, and it is purely a decoration. In the original games, I assume the same is true, considering players have tried everything and anything to get the truck to do something. There was a rampant rumor that if you used strength on the truck and moved the truck, a Mew would appear. Of course we all tried doing it, and it didn't work. The truck wouldn't budge. If you actually stop and think about it, this is kind of ludicrous. What would a Mew be doing under a truck? Do trucks have anything to do with Mew at all? But I can hardly blame players for expecting something to happen there, considering it does take some careful planning to even see the truck. My guess is that Game Freak just didn't even think about it, and put the truck there as a decoration, only to realize that it was off too far to the right and couldn't be seen, and didn't bother moving it. Then when players found it, they expected some kind of reward for seeing what ordinarily couldn't be seen, but there was none to be found, so their imaginations got in that truck and drove off at high speed. Luckily, in Fire Red and Leaf Green, Game Freak realized that players wanted at least some kind of acknowledgement that they had found this hidden, tucked-away map tile. So Game Freak put a lava cookie on the dock a little bit south of the truck. Well, at least it's something. And the number 1 Easter egg is Pattern Bush. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, new areas of the game were added called the Sevi Isles. On Fortune Island, there's a little forest called Pattern Bush, where it's all flat inside with no trees, only grass laid out in what seems to be a specific pattern, and the only Pokemon you can encounter there are bug types. It's difficult to tell what the pattern is supposed to be if you don't know what to look for, but as it turns out, it's meant to resemble the circuit board for Red and Green on the Game Boy. So, it's the circuit board for one of the most glitchy, broken games of all time, and it's full of bugs. For a long time, players have wanted Game Freak to make Missing No a real Pokemon. But of course, Missing No as we all know and love it isn't the same across every region of the game. In Japan, Missing No was known as Ketsuban, and it was impossible to encounter in battle, had no sprite at all, and wasn't even the infamous bird type. It would be difficult for Game Freak to make a Pokemon that represented Missing No faithfully across every region of the game, when it was different almost everywhere in the world. I feel like this little acknowledgement that the first-gen games were a glitchy mess is a nice consolation though, and a nice acknowledgement of how far the series and the team at Game Freak has come. Well, that about wraps up my favorite Pokemon Easter eggs, but there are plenty more out there to discover. Let me know if you found any other Pokemon Easter eggs, and happy hunting! Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click here to subscribe for more Pokemon videos. See ya!